Battlefield 5 is a game with a lot of guns, but choosing the correct one can often be challenging. In this upcoming mini-series, I'm going to be taking a look at some of my favourites for different scenarios, and starting out, we'll be focusing on blasting the enemy away in the shortest amount of time possible. Sometimes in Battlefield 5 you just can't get much luck, especially with all the network and server issues that constantly ruin the experience. That being said, what you can do is put together a loadout that is insane at dealing out damage, almost guaranteeing you some extra kills. I'll take a look at the different classes and then put together a selection of loadouts with gameplay from each of them, with some focused on short range and others focused on long range. Bear in mind, the scout class isn't one I play a lot of, so I'm going to leave that one out of here. You could go for just a pure sniper ranged class and go for something that's going to be getting you the kills if you can aim and get the headshots, but on the other hand, that's up to you. Some people do prefer to play a different way in the scout class. As I said, I don't play a lot of it, so I'll stick to the assault, medic and support class, focusing on weapons that are really going to give you an advantage in a 1v1, just purely based on damage output and blitzing enemy players. And you'll see what I mean with some of the footage in the background. Not all of it is mine, some of it has come from a few members of my platoon. They do send in the odd bit of footage that I can use in videos because they're very good players, and it's better for you guys to see what is actually possible with some of these weapons. Whilst I'm not the worst player in the world, sometimes I can miss quite a few shots, so these players are better than me, and it proves how good these weapons can be if you learn how to use them properly. So let's start out in the assault class with the old reliable Sturmgewehr 1.5. I've dropped my specialization tree on the left hand side. This is what I personally run. I think it's the best for the weapon, and the reason I've included this as a starting point is because I believe this is one of the most reliable weapons in the game. It's very good at close range, it can be pretty decent at medium range, and you can also tap people at longer ranges without too much difficulty. It's an assault weapon. Yes, it's going to be better than most of the stuff you see in the medic class anyway, just because of the way the game's balanced, but it's also really effective at just destroying every type of enemy player. And the thing is with it as well, it works for most maps, and that's something we'll get into in a bit with this video. Not all weapons work for all maps, or indeed all modes. Sometimes you do have to pick a weapon based on the map or the mode you're about to play, and that is really important. The Sturmgewehr 1.5, however, is just a great all-rounder. It'll work on pretty much all the maps, it will work on pretty much all the modes, and with 31 rounds in a magazine, and with it being quite hard hitting, you're going to demolish most people in your way. A good choice, a solid weapon, and something you should definitely be considering, but you've probably already used it, as it is the beginning weapon in the assault class. Now on to a true blitzing assault weapon, the M1907 SF. Again, I've included my perfect specialization tree on screen for you there if that's what you want to go for. Now this gameplay is from a friend of mine. He's playing on the new Al Sundan map. It's quite interesting really, the M1907 SF. It's a weapon that I used a lot at the beginning of the game, and I was wondering to myself, why is this firing so quickly? We had the same weapon in Battlefield 1, or near enough as far as I can tell, and that weapon wasn't like this, so it's an automatic variant I suppose. The way this weapon deals out damage though is incredible. You've almost killed somebody before you've even squeezed the trigger. It does so much damage, but then you have the trade-off of a small magazine with only 21 rounds. That doesn't really matter though, that's still enough to kill 2 or 3 players, and I'm pretty certain anyone who's used this will agree. For the term blitzing an enemy, the M1907 SF is perfect. There's no better gun than it really for doing that in the assault class. It's also surprisingly good at range, which I find quite crazy for a weapon that is possibly the best in the game in CQB, bar the shotguns of course, because you get that one-hit kill. It's just really special, and you'll find yourself getting a lot of headshots as well. The recoil is fairly easy to control. There's a bit of horizontal recoil there which you can't really do a whole lot about, but tap firing at range, you see some kills in the background here. It's just unfair a lot of the time, this gun. It's so good. Any campers in buildings like this, well, they don't stand a chance, and it just gives you the best possibility to survive in gunfights, and I think that's what really these weapons are all about. You want to give yourself that best chance. You're not going to be sitting on a hill taking out enemies, really focusing on your position. You're just going for pure kills and survivability in CQB, often with this weapon, and it's perfect for that. Next up, one of my favourites in the game, the M1A1. This weapon is an absolute beast. Again, I've put my specializations on screen. The biggest thing you can do with this weapon, in my opinion, is equip the extended mag and then a 3x scope to give you that real advantage. I think the main thing about the M1A1 and the reason I've put it here as a gun that will blitz the enemy is because of that larger magazine and the fact you can just spam it. You can spam as many bullets as you want, hopefully hitting a couple of headshots, and before the enemy even knows they're being shot at, you will have destroyed them. Now this is my gameplay in the background, surprisingly, and as you can see, I'm not the best player, but when I spot an enemy and maybe I miss a couple of bullets, I can just keep tapping away, and there we go, you get yourself the kill, usually with a headshot as well. There's barely any recoil on this weapon. It's very easy to track players, and it's a beast as well. At that medium range, whilst it can hold its own in the closer ranges too, it makes you quite a versatile assault player, which is what I think it's all about. Good for most maps, good for most modes. This again is a really good reliable weapon choice. The final weapon I'm going to look at in the assault class, and one that I've made a dedicated video to in the past, the AG-M42. Whilst there are many weapons in the assault class that will do what the AG-M42 does, I feel personally as if this weapon is an absolute beast at blitzing a single enemy. It will hold its own versus anyone at range, and also it can be used in slightly closer conditions. Of course, it's not a CQB weapon, but it will do the job. You can spam fire this thing, and with 10 rounds and the box magazine attachment, you can do a really, really good job at blitzing enemy players. What I'd say about this weapon is it does really depend on the map you're playing and the range you're playing. As you can tell, I'm playing on Narvik right now, and I'm trying to keep my distance from enemy players. I'm not rushing into the flag. I'm trying to play just off flag and pick off enemies at this kind of 50-meter range. 25 to 50 meters, I think it excels at that. But again, it's up to you. It depends how you play. It's a great one to level up and just have as a choice. Moving on to the medic class, and you know I'd have to include it. It's the Suomi, and I've included it twice actually in this video. The first one is going to be with the big magazine attachment, the second one with the small magazine but the upgraded rate of fire. And the reason I've put two in here is because they're almost like two completely different guns, or indeed they are two completely different guns. The big mag, you get 50 rounds. And the biggest mistake I always make with the Big Mag Suomi is that I reload it all the time. You don't want to do that. You only want to reload when you have to, because that's when enemies will push you. Just by chance, whenever you reload, that's when they'll be there. Here on Aerodrome, I feel as if it's possibly the best gun you can have in the medic class inside the Aerodrome on Charlie. When you get outside, yes, there are better weapons. The ranges are just all over the place. But inside, this thing is a beast. In the medic class, you also get smoke and the ability to self-heal, which cannot be underestimated. It's just really, really important. So what would I suggest doing with this Suomi Big Mag? As I said, don't make a mess of your reloads. You can always reload when you're on very low ammo in a magazine. Don't risk reloading when enemies could be taking you down, and also utilize the smokes. Now I often use smokes to smoke behind me so I don't get shot in the back, and also I smoke cover that I might have to go back to. That's super important. The hip fire is pretty strong, and the rate of fire is already pretty decent without the rate of fire upgrade. But if you do choose the rate of fire upgrade, you have to sacrifice the big magazine. It's a trade-off, and one that really you have to think about. Are you looking to blitz single enemies or double enemies, or are you looking to still be really effective but maybe have a bit more versatility with the big magazine? Moving on to that small mag, as you can see, specialization tree on the left hand side. This weapon is insane, and just for the sake of comparison, I'm again playing on Aerodrome on Charlie objective. Just look how much quicker I kill a single enemy. It's not crazy because it's difficult to see with a game that already has a very quick time to kill, but there is a difference. Right there in this highlight, I could have picked up that teammate, but as you see, this is why you don't rush in for revives. If I picked him up, I'd have died. I went to try and kill an enemy instead, realized I couldn't pick him up, and relocated. At range, you can still kill players. It's not perfect, as you see there. I picked one up, but it's really a CQB weapon, this. And for the rest of this clip, I do go for some CQB plays on Charlie objective. It's what you want to be doing. Use the smoke to your advantage. Hip fire in CQB. Only switch out to your secondary if you have to, and don't reload at the wrong times. As you can see here, 2 rounds in the magazine, got to reload. Here, I don't reload, I check what's around the corner first, and then get the reload in. Always aware that I can pull out the secondary, in this case the revolver, and do damage that way. This is one of the best medic loadouts in the game. You are practically unstoppable in CQB through smoke with hipfire, but you do sacrifice that versatility with a smaller magazine, and maybe you're at a disadvantage versus multiple enemies, but clever positioning and almost peeking out, killing someone, jumping back behind cover, it's what will really gain you the advantage. Plus you're a medic, so you can revive players as I try to here. And at the same time you've got smokes, which are great fun in Battlefield 5. Also, you can heal. As I mentioned before, healing in these little gunfights, there's someone down the corridor, drop a smoke, heal. As a medic, you can get yourself up to full HP, while others can't due to attrition, so don't underestimate that when playing in the medic class. The final medic gun I want to include, and I haven't included the Tommy gun because I feel as if the Suomi is a better version of it, it's the Zed K. And the Zed K is a slightly different sort of medic weapon to others in Battlefield 5. It offers the bipod, which can be utilised in a lot of different ways due to this really odd bipod system Battlefield 5 has. You can bipod in virtually any situation, but also you can upgrade it to be a faster firing SMG with essentially no recoil. So that means you can take players out at longer ranges, tap firing, and also be super effective in CQB. It's a weapon I really enjoy. You can see some gameplay in the background here from myself and then from a friend of mine who is just a beast with this gun. The headshots that he gets, hip firing, whatever you want, it is just amazing. And it's a really good all-rounder in the medic class. It's one of those weapons that if you're not sure what to take on a map in the medic class, just take the ZK383. It'll do you well in so many situations. And when you link up the headshots, this thing is just a beast. So that's it for the medic class. Let's move on to the support class and see what we've got there. It's not a class I use a whole lot in the game because I feel as if the assault class is better with the gadgets and then the medic class is better with the self-healing and the smokes, but some of the weapons are really underrated in the support class. So starting things out, we're going to be looking at the FG42. In my opinion, the best weapon in the support class if you're not interested in camping and bipodding, and that's not something I like in this game, camping and bipodding, so I'm not going to be including many weapons that require you to bipod. Yes, the MG42 with the rate of fire upgrade, it's insane. You know, you can't stop that thing, but everybody knows that already, so let's uncover a few of these hidden gems in the support class. This is me using the FG42 on Bravo objective Arras. It's incredible. With the 3x scope, it is just a beast. It will demolish players. And also 20 rounds doesn't seem like a lot, but when you realise how much damage this thing will do, you will certainly get on board with it. Also, you can bipod if you want to. You can get yourself in a position where you can hold down an objective, and it's just super, super effective. It demolishes at medium range, close range, potentially even longer ranges if you tap fire, but this thing will do you so much good on a map like Arras where you're trying to control a flag. In addition to that, you are playing in the support class, and the idea of the support class is to play fairly aggressively but also provide your team with as much support as you can. If you're in a situation where you're surrounded by enemy players and you've got teammates backing you up, this gun is just going to be great for mowing down players and holding your own and acting as almost a clutch player to just take out a couple of people that are pushing you. But at the same time, you could play like a run and gun assault player if you wanted to. It does open up that opportunity for you. Now for obviously a gun that has to be considered for its one-shot potential, it's the 12G automatic. Now I haven't included the drilling because it's not a weapon I ever really got on board with. I know how good it can be and the range as well that it potentially has, but I feel as if the 12G automatic is just a better gun for Battlefield 5 with the way the game plays. I often find 2 or 3 enemies just appear out of nowhere and I need to destroy them with 6 rounds quickly or 5 rounds really quickly blasted at them, and this does it super well. Again, on Arras for a couple of these clips. A map that it does have a lot of cover, it has a lot of engagement ranges, but if you're playing on Echo objective between Echo, Bravo and the Cathedral, a shotgun is not a bad choice whatsoever. And whilst I'm not the best shotgun player in the world, that's pretty evident from watching this gameplay, you can still get yourself a lot of kills, and you kill people in one shot, although that guy I shot twice doesn't die, and then I go for the revolver kill, and that still doesn't kill him. Very frustrating stuff. I feel as if this 12G automatic is just a beast. It will destroy people in buildings. And again, it's down to what you're playing and what you plan to do. The 12G automatic, it will blitz an enemy. Trust me. Finishing off with a bit of a wild card, it's the Lewis gun, and the reason I've included it is because I always die to this damn thing in one frame. It's like the KE7 on release. It's an absolute machine with 50 or 60 rounds just as default. You can obviously up that to I think around 100 with the specialization. I don't think that's needed, but this thing is just super consistent. There is no recoil on it at all. It's great for console and PC. It's an absolutely brilliant weapon on Battlefield 5, and you'll be having a load of fun killing enemy players, just blasting through them if you want to play in the support class. So thanks for watching this video, taking a look at some of the best weapons for blitzing enemy players. In the next one, I'll try and think of something different, maybe the best weapons for ranged engagements, maybe the best weapons for pub stomping. Let me know what you want to see in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.